Good morning, everybody. It's good to be up here. I'm wearing a shirt with a cross on it, obviously. It's got a face of a lion implanted in it. And the verse says, "Fear not, for Jesus, the Lion of Judah, has triumphed." Revelation 5:5. That'll become very necessary here in a little bit. You know, the worship today basically told my story. Growing up, I was a son of a preacher. My mama was a Sunday school teacher. So I was fed Jesus and the Bible just about every day. I like to tell people I had a drug problem early on in life. Every time the church doors were open, I was drugged to it. But, when I got old enough to start thinking for myself, I started reading the Word and finding out that a lot of what I had been taught was absolutely wrong. It didn't say anything about it anywhere in the Bible. I had believed doctrine instead of the Word. When I realized that, I started asking myself, well, what else did they lie to me about? You know, they always told me, don't drink alcohol, don't do drugs. Well, I got to asking myself, why? So I decided to find out why. And I did, because they grabbed me and controlled me for over 20 years. I got to the point where I thumbed my nose at God, said, I want nothing to do with you. You've done nothing for me. Forget you. I won't use the exact language I used with him here in church, but use your imagination and you could probably figure it out. I went a number of years and did all right. I thought I was achieving all my goals, doing really well in life, until one day I reached up and touched the ground. Instead of spiraling up, I was going down the drain and didn't even realize it. Got to the point in my life where I couldn't do anything but drink. Couldn't hold a job. Couldn't keep an apartment. Couldn't do anything but drink every day. I got my third DUI in 2007. 2008, I did 90 days in jail. And after I got out of jail, I started a 2-year probation period. You know, I had to report every 3 weeks and all that fun stuff that goes along with it. I did pretty good for 13 months and 3 days. Now, I have been diagnosed with a mental illness that is rapid cycling bipolar with psychotic features, which means sometimes I get extremely manic, bouncing off the wall energy, and it can keep me up for days. Some of you used to pay good money to stay up for days. I don't like it, but it happens. It happens. One particular time, December 8th, 2009, was one of those times I had been up for over 3 days and was extremely exhausted, but couldn't sleep. My mind just kept running, bouncing all over the place. One thing that happens when that happens is I'll get a thought in my head and say, hey, that sounds like fun, like a good idea. Let's do that. Dang the torpedoes, full speed ahead. And so I got this idea in my head that if I went out for a walk, I could burn off some of this energy and maybe get to sleep. The problem was it was 3 o'clock in the morning. Nothing good happens after midnight. I learned that the hard way. I ran into a friend of mine who is now dead from alcohol. And He had a place at the Phoenix, which most of you will remember where that's at. It used to be. He invited me over to his place to hang out for a while. So I said, sure, I'm not doing anything right now. So I went over there, asked him for something to drink because I was thirsty, and he had whiskey. Well, again, I'm manic, and I'm like, sounds like a good idea. That will put me to sleep. So I drank till 6:30 in the morning. 3.5 hours of drinking. I said, you know what? I need to get home before people start moving around and somebody sees me drunk. So I go home, walk home, and then I remember that at 9:30, I have an appointment with my probation officer. Oops. So I bathed and put on cologne and put on clean clothes and brushed my teeth 20 times. Went to see her, and that particular day she gave me a breathalyzer. Now at 9:30, 3 hours after drinking, I blew a 196. Don't know if you know what that means, but that's really high. She decided to tell me that she found me to be a danger to myself and others, placed me under arrest, sent me to Salina County Hilton, and I sat there for 2 weeks. She left me in jail for 2 weeks. Now, during this time, I did not pray for God, please get me out of this. If you get me out of this, I will, blah, blah, blah. Didn't do that because I had gotten myself into that problem. And I did not expect God to get me out. I expected him to hit me with my consequences, which was 9 more months in jail. 2 weeks, I went to court. There's my probation officer and the county attorney, and they're talking, and I'm like, I'm screwed. She came over and she asked me, Raymond, if I put you in jail for a year, what happens? I said, I lose everything. I lose the money I have. I lose the house I have. I lose the stuff I have. I lose everything. She said, okay. My name got called. She went to the podium and said, Your Honor, I'd like to revoke him. And I freaked. Not outside, but inside. I'm like, here we go. I knew God was going to do this because that's what he always does. And she said, then I would like to reinstate him for a year, which meant I would get off the following December. Just that quick, my mind got blown. I deserved to spend the rest of that year in jail. I deserved that. Then this woman showed me grace. God, through her, showed me a very, in my mind, a very disgusting individual, someone who wasn't worth saving, showed me grace. She said, Raymond, when you get out of jail, I want you to come see me. I said, yes, ma'am. I got out of jail that afternoon. I saw her 20 minutes later, and I'd like to say she chewed my butt, but she chewed out around it and let it fall. She was so PO'd at me for doing what I had done. And she let me know that if it ever happened again, the mercy and grace she had shown me would disappear. My next stop was at an AA meeting. Fast forward 3 years, I'm ringing the bell for Salvation Army, and I'm outside the mall. And here she comes up to the entrance that I'm at. And I yelled her name, and she goes, "Raymond, hi, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing great. I'm sober. My life is in great shape. Things are starting to happen for me." And I said, "I want to thank you for putting me in jail." And her mouth dropped open. She goes, "Nobody ever thanks me for putting them in jail." I said, "You saved my life. God, through you, got me here because I was dying." See, I could go for a while without drinking, but in my head, I knew that God didn't care. So why should I? Then in an instant, he showed me he does. See, when I started back to drinking, I would drink for long periods of time. But my body would reject it every time and then get mad at me for not giving it to it. I was dying and I would have been dead. And I said to God, "Okay, you win. Obviously, I don't do a good job at captaining my ship. So you do it. Whatever you say, I'll do." And since then, my life has again blossomed. I'm involved in several different things. My life revolves around recovery. Mental, physical, spiritual recovery. And I try, because I pray every day, God, make me a blessing to somebody. Just one. Let me be a vehicle of your grace to somebody. I don't know if I do that. I don't have a clue. But I know that my God, the one who created this whole thing, will do that if I'm open to it. You know, Psalm 139 is my favorite psalm. It shows me that God wrote this book and he named it Raymond, or put your name in there. He named it Raymond. When he was done writing that book, he closed it, put it on the shelf, and then he said, "Let there be light." I praise him for his grace, because it's by his grace I'm here today. Anyway, that's just what I wanted to share. I hope you got something out of that, and God bless you. Thanks for letting me share.